another episode of the Sounds of Stadia podcast, episode number 128, in fact, of your weekly Stadia show, where we round up all of the weekly gaming and Stadia news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/HadesCloudGames, or up there on your podcast preference of choice in the digital cloud. You're joining myself, Chris, one of your hosts for this week, alongside the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Hello there.
Hello indeed. Welcome all. Welcome new people. Welcome the hundreds of you who listen and tune in every week. Thank you very much for your support. And if you are new to the show, welcome to you as well. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you are kept in the loop with all of the content we bring you here at Hades Cloud Games, like our weekly live streams, like our first looks, like our Let's Play series, and much, much more. Richie.
Yes.
This episode goes live the day after we've been utterly drunk with Tom celebrating his last night of freedom. I know we said it on last week's show, but this show is going live after the actual repercussions. We're on the cusp. We go tomorrow. You're already on the beers, I see.
Yeah. It's Friday night, so we usually record on like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, but since it's Friday night...
Yep. And
you've got to warm that liver up.
Warm it up or cool it down? Which do you think would be better?
I don't think either would be good, to be honest. Leave it how it alone.
Leave it how it is. It does repair itself after all. We've got a great show lined up for you all this week, folks. We're going to be talking about new games coming to Stadia. We got a double drop this week of new titles coming out. A lot of people actually, we didn't know about. It wasn't rated, it wasn't teased, it wasn't expected, so happy days on that front. We're going to be talking about Stadia running on the Steam Deck. We're going to be breaking down new games from Capcom, or I shouldn't say new, I should say rebuffed games coming from Capcom that might land on the platform, crossplay coming to FIFA, and much, much more. But before we do dive into all that, Richie, shout out to all of our wonderful members, all 50 plus of you over on the YouTube membership program, our Helix heroes, in fact. Thank you for your extra support. From as little as 99p, you help support us, you help us bring you better content, and you get little perks along with it, just like badges next to your name, stickers to use in the chat, and more importantly, 6 days early access to our SideQuest show, where we go off the beaten path to talk about a little topical discussion at a little bit more length. Richie, last week we spoke about what?
We talk about the Stadia Dev Summit and what to expect, and then not long after, of course, Google started tweeting a bit more about it and basically told us even more to expect Stadia there.
They did.
Actually, we kind of tackled it from the point of view of we're not expecting much to be there from the consumer point of view. Stadia, a few of the tweets I've seen from Stadia like are kind of trying to get the consumers in as well. So it's like, okay, we'll see.
It's interesting stuff bubbling under the surface, of course. You're alluding to, they retweeted 2 Dev Summit tweets, and then they made an actual direct tweet of their own saying, looking forward to it. So there may be more than meets the eye with this one. However, if the last 2 years have taught us anything, everyone watching out there, everyone listening along, temper those expectations. You need to prep it like a liver. Hot, cold, just get it ready, because whatever you expect, it's probably not going to be what you expected. So brace yourself. We've said last week it'll be great to just hear them discussing things and actually talking about the platform.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Google come out and acknowledge Stadia in a formal capacity, which is something they haven't really done.
Certainly. And I would love for the whole thing to end with them saying, see you at GDC, which is in like a fortnight after the fact. So, or not even that, I think it's like 10 days.
I don't think GDC is as important because they're doing a dev summit and Stadia is going to be there. I'd love them to see, we'll see you in the summer.
Depends if they're
like
speaking
alluding
to us on
to
the
E3
devs.
or... Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, but depending whether it's like, we'll see you in the summer, it would be like E3 or Summer Games Fest, but...
They could do 2 addresses. They could address the devs
Honestly,
and go, we'll see you in March, and you folks at home will see you in the summer. Dun, dun, dun.
Honestly, I think the biggest announcement they could potentially make is, yeah, we'll do something else later in the year.
That probably is what we should expect. That probably is what we should expect. But before we dive into the thick of the show, Richie, just give the people a quick update on what you've been playing. I suspect I do know.
Yes, Horizon Forbidden West.
2 weeks on the bounce.
I know.
1, 2, he did it. I'll pick
Did you have them prepped?
No, I just was messing around with them in my hand, and then it played in perfectly.
Yeah, anyway. Horizon Forbidden West. The game, I feel like I'm like 30 hours in. I've barely made a dent in it. I've seen people like get the platinum in 60 hours, and it's like, how?
Yeah, I've seen people do it in like 25, which is a ridiculous. You've basically skipped all the cutscenes, all the story, follow the trophy guide just to get it, which isn't how you should enjoy games. But yeah, 60 seems to be the standard.
Anyone, however you want to enjoy games, how you want to enjoy games, and when I've seen people seeing 60, they are trophy hunters, which means they're going to play fast and they're probably playing on easy. I'm playing on very hard. If you play that game on very hard, you make a mistake, it hurts.
Yeah, I'm getting my ass handed to me by giant robot dinosaurs many, many times over.
I got my ass handed to me by small robot dinosaurs.
I actually found the humans are surprisingly difficult because they're all armoured up this game, whereas last time I think they were just basic humans you could stealth kill.
Can't just stealth and headshot.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the sharp shot ball, the one that like has a longer range.
Yeah, you need to be a little bit more particular about how you approach those. I have been playing some Stadia. I checked out some more Adam Wolf. It does run well with touch input. I know we critiqued it a little bit. We're probably going to talk a little bit more about mobile ports, definitely in this episode of the podcast. But checked it out. It is what it is. It's a little detective game. If you're into that kind of Sherlock Holmes sleuthing, it's fun. It does what it needs to. But more importantly, I've just been playing tons of FIFA. Honestly, the Razer Kishi phone combination has just got me. I'm climbing the league in my career mode. I'm doing transfers. I'm enjoying it. So I really do hope we get FIFA 23. And it is in the news later on for a particular reason. And it would benefit it being on Stadia with this news so much more.
Yeah.
So, you know what, Richie? Should we get into it? We shall not delay. Introduce us, please, to the
super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka The News.
Sponsored this week by Red Bull. It's not. After. I'm trying to think what you would take for a hangover.
Lucozade and paracetamol.
I tend to just drink, like water and paracetamol.
Water, paracetamol.
I'm hoping we're not going to be too rough because, of course, we're staying over in a hotel, and then I have to drive home as well, which is never great when you're hungover. But you know what? A good English breakfast will sort us out. A bit of greasy food. Maybe hit McDonald's as well. And
I don't know. See, my hangovers are weird. Sometimes I'll be like, I just feel a bit ropey. A shower, a cup of coffee, and a breakfast. I'm fine. Other times, I am dead.
Dead to the world. If you're sick in my car, you are walking home.
Yeah, I won't be sick in your car.
And you won't be on next week's podcast. No, you will, really. I couldn't do this without you. Anyway, news, Richie. Got a busy week. Great bunch of stories lined up. Very Stadia related, as you would expect from us. And a couple of games. Games, as I alluded to, we didn't know anything about. Some of them we still don't know anything about because they're a bit weird and crazy. Well, let's get into it. Story number one. We got an announcement drop this week from... I was going to call it the community blog, but it's not really. They've dubbed it Next Up on Stadia, and we got two posts this week, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. Next Up on Stadia are Nuos, to those who like to abbreviate things. First things first, we got Calico. Calico, Richie, developed by Peachy Keen Games, I like that name, published by White Thorn Games, will be coming soon, and in Calico, your only limitation is your imagination. Build the cat cafe of your dreams while uncovering magical potions and collecting cuddly animals from the nearby village. Fill your cat cafe with cats, deers, raccoons, dogs, red pandas, everything cute and fluffy. Befriend the forest animals while designing your cafe from top to bottom. Select the perfect combination of furniture and develop the best drinks and pastries for your furry patrons. Outside of your bustling business, discover an impossible world. Travel through the forest to discover new creatures, magical girls, witches, and townspeople. Make new friends at every turn and transform the forest into a pet-friendly paradise. I have no idea what I just read. That was quite an inspiring description compared to some game descriptions. That was actually quite well written.
Yeah, it
doesn't make any sense.
But like, what I'm making a cat cafe, and then there's witches and potions and stuff, and like, in part of the trailer, there's a cat, like a really round cat, and you kind of
it's like
standing on it like a bull. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, I don't know what to make about it.
I don't know. Like, I have no idea what the game is. Like, it's definitely unique.
Yeah, that is certainly putting it. In my description in the doc,
quite zen.
I've listed it as if you took acid with your pets and fell into a watercolor painting.
Yeah,
that is what this game is. There's cats rolling around. There's cats being bipedal, and there's someone cleaning their face with a cat. What is going on here?
I love in the Stadia community blog, actually, the first feature listed is character creator. You can make a character. It's like,
it's
that's
like,
not usually a feature that's like listed.
It's like Elden Ring. Create your own character and go into this batshit crazy world.
Yeah, if you took Elden Ring and made it about a cat cafe,
then this is it. They're having a council. They have an organised council in the trailer. That looks eerie and scary. Some of the features are descripted is all animals are interactive, so anything you come across in the world of Calico can be your friend. You have, of course, cafe decoration, a cooking mini game. There's a good shout out. Create a wonderful cafe by making yummy baked goods. I know it said in the description, make pastries. Can cats eat pastries? Are cats popping down to Greg's for a chicken bake every now and again?
I don't know.
I feel like it would kill them.
For our American viewers, Greg's is a sausage roll shop. I'm loath to call it a bakery.
A pie shop.
Yeah.
The closest thing may be a pie shop. Oh, Greg's.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll probably have some Greg's over the weekend, actually. And then finally, they've got the magic of Calico. There's no limits on finding happiness. You can brew potions, and there's no rules. You can make animals big, small, hang out with them, or even ride a giant cat. So, back to my previous summary is it's like you took acid and fell into a watercolour painting with your pet cat. That's what this game is for me. Yeah. It's weird. I kind of dig it. I don't really know what... It reminds me of almost like Animal Crossing a little bit, with the kind of the zen, relaxing. There's no real crazy action going on. You're not killing the cats. It's just... Or you might be, I don't know. They might overthrow you in the cat council of elders.
I think the cats are cultists.
Okay.
Like trying to overthrow the humans. Deeper. I think there's a like Illuminati subplot to it. No, honestly, we joke, but I think this is a game really you just kind of have to play to figure out if you like it or not.
100%. It's it is what it is. It's gonna capture a lot of people's imagination, hopefully. But you know what? I'm down for it. Second game, Richie, we got announced this week. Part of the next up on Stadia, we got Lake. So Lake is another almost Zen-esque game developed by Gamius, published once again by Whitethorn Games. Sorry. Looks like there's some kind of relationship brewing there. Lake is a unique gaming experience, a fusion of traditional story-driven point-and-click adventure, free-roaming driving sim, and a modern narrative adventure. It's September 1st, the day before my birthday, 1986, not quite the year. You take on the role of a 40-something Meredith Weiss, who returns from the big city to her quiet hometown. She exchanges her busy career as a software company to fill in for her dad, the local mail carrier. During her 2-week stay in the beautiful Providence Oaks, Oregon, she runs into a familiar face as well as plenty of new folk. As Meredith, you get to decide who to talk to, who to befriend, and perhaps even start a romantic relationship with. Whatever happens, at the end of her stint, she'll have to make up her mind, return to her demanding job in the big city, or stay in the small town she grew up in. Now, this doesn't have any cats as far as I'm aware, Richie.
There might be cats.
There might be.
We can't guarantee cats in this game. The weird thing for me in this is she's got a job in the city. She's a busy person. She gets a phone call and she has to fill in as a postman for her dad. Like, does that happen anywhere? Like, that's a weird thing to happen to someone's like.
Yeah, my dad.
She hasn't had the training to be a postman.
Yeah, I was thinking any role. Like my dad was a gas engineer, and if he got the call or something happened and I needed to like fill in for him, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Oh, give me the toolbox.
You need to abandon your career in telecoms to go become a gas engineer for a week because your dad's ill.
Yeah, and I might meet some interesting people along the way and maybe start a relationship, Richie. Who knows? The features
I'm sure your wife would love that.
Yeah, I'm sure. The features of this game are described as escape to a beautiful rustic environment without cell phones and internet. Now, that does sound peaceful. Back in the 80s. Drive around the lake in your dad's trusty mail truck or let the autopilot do the work. I didn't realise mail trucks in the 80s had autopilot, but we'll let that go. Talk to a range of engaging characters with their quirks and personalities. Choose after-work activities, hang out with your friends, help out the neighbours, or stay home and read a book. Experience 2 weeks of branching story that doesn't shy away from slice-of-life themes. Don't know what that means. Slice of life?
Slice of life is kind of like, it's a genre where it's like you just basically jump in. It's like taking just a slice out of someone's
like walking in
life.
their shoes.
Yeah. You're basically playing through someone's life for that period of time.
Okay.
So it sounds like a pretty standard narrative adventure.
Yeah.
Like
walking.
She's
sim.
just moved to this town. Yeah. Walking sim. There might be a bit more to it with different interactions and stuff. Where when I think of walking sims, I think of things like Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, where all you do, you're walking around the world, and it's all just figuring out what the story is through the context of what's happened. Yeah, great game though.
It was, yeah. I'd actually love this game on stage. It's been many years since I've played Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. And then finally it says, determine your own story. There are no wrong or right answers or endings. Simply what you want to happen. So it does say point and click, which is interesting because the trailer and the footage doesn't show it to be like a point and click. It looks more like just a free exploration style game. So intrigued to see how the gameplay actually plays out. But you know what? Going back to the 18th September, interesting. And we've said time and time again with Stadia, they can't really be mocked for lack of variety. That's the one thing they've probably got more than anything is variety in their titles. If we just got all shooters or all racing games, it would have put them probably into a niche bracket. But you know what? Between Lake and Calico and I don't know, Rainbow Six Extraction, there's a lot of variation in those titles. So exciting to see.
And both of them are rated very positive on Steam. So there's that.
Terrific stuff. So they're just picking these game libraries out and curating them as best they can. And as I said, later in the week, on the Thursday, we got another Next Up on Stadia announcement. So they're hitting us with games thick and fast, and I'm curious how this impacts the This Week on Stadia post next week. Is it just going to be a summary of these 4 games, or what's the cadence going to be if this starts to become a regular thing?
I'm going to be optimistic in the fact that they've released these games. They've announced these games. They haven't got confirmed release dates. They haven't got release months on them. I'm hoping that these won't be involved in that at all, which is actually a good thing. Yeah. Because it means for This Week on Stadia, they have other content.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see any things that are coming. We've mentioned before, communication. If they're going to hit us every other week with like just a couple of new games that are in the pipeline, and you know what, they can say coming soon. It's again just talking to us so we know what's coming. Like we just have an insight into, oh look, let's check it on Steam. That's good. That's a good game coming. Great. I can watch a trailer rather than what's coming in April. Blank. Like there's a big difference in terms of generating excitement and interest. And as I think we discussed pre-show, bringing people to the platform. Silence isn't going to do that. A trailer, a blog post, a little date on a Wikipedia article that says it's coming will go a long way. So great stuff to see. Next up then, third game of the week Deliver Us the Moon, which is my most exciting one. This one is from Kyoken Interactive, published by Wired Productions. I know they've done a lot of teasing on social media the last few weeks. Deliver Us the Moon is a sci-fi thriller set in an apocalyptic near future where Earth's natural resources are depleted. In an effort to solve the energy crisis, global powers created the World Space Agency and secured a promising new source of energy on the moon. The World Space Agency colonized and operated from the moon until one fateful night, all communications with Earth ceased and the energy source was lost. Now, years later, you assume the role of Earth's last astronaut on a mission to investigate what happened and save humanity. During this adventure, your only companion is a small robot named Ass. It's ASE, so I'm calling it Ass. Together, Ass. You will traverse the moon, explore abandoned facilities, gather clues, and ultimately uncover the secrets and hidden agendas of those long gone. Will you save mankind or be forgotten in the dark abyss of space? Can you be forgotten if no one knows you're there?
Well, if you're the last astronaut, you're probably already forgotten.
Exactly. So,
but there again, you're the last astronaut, you're not the last person, though. So if you save humanity, you're probably going to be remembered. But if you die out there, you're just a nameless astronaut who failed. Just a
rock floating in space, like all of us are. And this one, Richie, is probably my most exciting. I think it's a genre that appeals to me the most. It arguably looks the best, I think, from a visual standpoint. It actually looks like quality. Features the game real-world themes, so narrative focused on topical issues like climate change and the depletion of the world's natural resources. Kind of a sad theme, realistically. It's the world we're all... Greta Thunberg will be up, no doubt, shaking her fist at this. Multiple gameplay styles, experience sequences of first and third-person play, as Deliver Us to the Moon takes you on a genre-busting narrative. Be an astronaut. Who doesn't want to be an astronaut? Uncover the past. Ruins of previous lunar missions have stories and secrets to tell. You use your Astro tool to uncover the history of the lunar colony. Suit up with space-age tech. Survive hazardous environments. Crack codes. Overcome obstacles. Solve puzzles. Feel weightlessness. And it's all powered by Unreal Engine 4, which is an odd point to mention at the end, but we all know what Unreal Engine's capable of. How is this one sitting with you then, out of the three we've covered so far?
I think it's the most interesting. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm interested though.
Oh, it's like slight few letter change there.
Yeah. Again, I think I'm at the point, because I've got so many awesome games in my backlog to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back at the point where games really need to kind of wow me to get my interest. Where if it looks perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It looks like a good game. But I'm currently playing Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah. So
Horizon Zero West, that's what it's going to be called. So I was like, well, is this going to be a game that's going to pull me away from that?
I'm going to say no. And I can't imagine it would pull many people away from it. But in terms of a bit more quality and a bit more variety, I think it does. It reminds me of, what was the first-person game we got on Stadia about a year and a half ago that had first-person... It was almost like Portal meets something like this.
Oh, what's the
yeah, I can picture it. It's not Relicta, is it? It's not that one. You folks in the chat, you know, it'll come to me. I'll be sat in bed tonight, 1 o'clock in the morning, eyes wide open, and I'll go, that's its name. That's its damn name. You go through and solve like puzzles and stuff using your grapple gun, and you move a battery over into one place, and
I know exactly the game you mean.
It was a pro game at some point. I know that much. But Deliver Us to the Moon.
The Turing test.
The Turing test. You got it. That's right. In honor of Alan Turing, of course. Deliver Us to the Moon coming April 2022. So not too far, Richie. We're in March, if you didn't already know. So is it a pro game for April? Maybe. Are all of these pro games for April? Who knows? None of them have actually set a set date. So win-win. Moving on then, we got our fourth and final game announced for the week as part of these Next Up on Stadia blogs, and this one is in a similar vein to the Adam Wolf game we reported on last week's podcast. This is City Legends: The Curse of the Crimson Shadow Collector's Edition. We don't just get any edition, Richie. We get the Collector's Edition, which is it's a mouthful to say in one go, I'll be honest. This is from Domini Games, and it's been ported by Matabu Studios, published by Legacy Games, coming April 22 as well. As a renowned horror author, you're no stranger to terrifying tales, but this time your search for inspiration has put you in a path of a dangerous, legendary spirit in this chilling hidden object puzzle adventure. After watching a strange video about the Crimson Shadow, the Spectre himself is set on claiming you for his own, and you're not the only one he's after. You'll need to delve into the history of the Order of Witches and uncover their ties with the famed Phantom to escape his clutches in time. Do you have what it takes, Richie?
No.
This is another point-and-click adventure, and similar to this month's Adam Wolf, it is a mobile port game. Now, we had a lot of people talk to us across our channels in the comments section and in our Discord chat. If you're into Stadia, cloud gaming in general, or just like-minded and into technology, do join our Discord chat. The link is in the description below, where a lot of people discussed having a good time with Adam Wolf last week. I watched some of our friend John Scar over on his Stadia channel playing some of the game, point-and-click investigating adventure. This is in a similar vein. I actually looked at it. It's available on the Android Play Store at the moment. Get it with your points, download it. Similar to Adam Wolf, first episode's free, paid for every episode since that. However, on Stadia, the Collector's Edition is the whole game. So this one's got maybe a bit more of a spooky trope to it. Curses of Crimson Shadows and stuff. Where do you sit on this one, Richie?
It's exactly the same place I sat with Adam Wolf. It's probably a perfectly serviceable game, probably a decent story. I'm not taking anything away from the game itself. I just don't understand the need for this to be on a cloud gaming platform. Because if it's a game that's optimized for mobile, where's the advantage? For me, the advantage of cloud gaming is to take games that you aren't able to make portable, making them portable, or replace expensive boxes that you have lying around. So, but I think phones are fairly ubiquitous to the point where I think everyone has them pretty much, or has chosen not to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people go back to 1986 and don't use phones or internet. But yeah, I think we may have give Adam Wolf a bit of stick last week, but I think it's merited. Because
I don't think we give the game stick.
No, I just think I'm one of those.
At least that wasn't my intent. It's like why is this on Stadia?
Now I'm one of those gamers who, because I grew up with gaming and I've grew up with the rise of mobile phones as well, and I've dabbled, and as we all have, I played Cut the Rope, I played Angry Birds, we've all been there.
Oh yeah, same.
I don't class mobile gaming is in the same bracket as video gaming on like a console or PC. Like when you see all these reports that go, oh, gaming there's like 500 million people played games in the last few years. But like a big chunk of them is people just playing Candy Crush. And I'm like, sorry, playing Candy Crush and Bubble Bobble and Bejeweled and stuff is not the same as me playing God of War for 40 hours or Age of Empires or something like that.
It's if you just go gaming as a whole industry, it's like, yes, you can include it. But when you delve in, mobile gaming's over there, you got console gaming, you got PC gaming, you got cloud gaming. And then the PC gaming, cloud gaming, console gaming off to one side, mobile gaming seems still off the other side.
And it has its place.
There is crossover. There's definitely crossovers.
And it makes money. Undoubtedly.
Yeah, but
it forced microtransactions on us and the fight to the bottom. Remember when games actually used to cost money? You bought it I bought Cut the Rope for £4.99. And I played it and I had the whole game. If you buy it now, it's free. You have to pay to unlock levels or speed up the gameplay.
When I was younger and actually used to play mobile games, I probably liked the free to play model because I didn't have any money. But now I'd rather actually just buy a game, not have to deal with pop-up ads, horrible aggressive microtransactions like, oh, you've played the game for 10 minutes, give us £5 to continue.
Yeah, prime example for me, what soured me probably off mobile games was Plants vs. Zombies 1. Fantastic game. Yeah. Amazing game.
Amazing.
Plants vs. Zombies 2, microtransactions, slowed the game right down. I think you got so far through the garden and you had to pay to unlock, or you had to go back and come back in 12 hours time whilst the counter went off in the background, and then you got bombarded.
Because when I'm gaming, what I want is the game to tell me to stop gaming or give them money.
Yeah. Come back in 2 hours when your farms grew or whatever the hell the things are. Yeah. But the reason, we digress, the reason I wanted to bring this up, I've seen some people on Twitter highlight this, is the cynic inside me, being British. Yeah. Domino Games, or Domino Mini Games, whatever they're called, who've put out this game. A quick Steam search will show you that they have many, many games, Richie. You search for Domini on Steam, and you'll see many, many games. Royal Legends, Spirit Chronicles, Connected Hearts, World of Law, Magic City Detective, Myths or Reality. All of them sound like mobile games. My worry
They're all
is
priced $10.99 every single one of them.
My worry is that the 100+ games were promised. This is two weeks back to back now. We've been told we're getting a mobile port game. If that's 2 weeks, we get 2 mobile games. How many weeks are left in the year? If we're getting this trickle effect of these style games for the next 7-8 months, if you're telling me there's 100 games coming to the platform this year and 20-30% of them are these mobile ports, that doesn't wow me. That doesn't do anything for me whatsoever.
No, I think it's to the detriment of the platform, to be very frank with it. When I think of mobile games, I think of this is something daft to play for 15 minutes. It's just pure enjoyment. Something like Candy Crush for 15 minutes while I'm on my lunch break. It's just something to pass the time when I think of what I want in a gaming platform like Stadia's, I want games like that I'm going to be invested in the game.
Yeah.
Not as this is just something I do to pass a bit of time.
Yeah. And I think anyone who's in a similar vein, and a lot of our audience, we know a lot of you out there are similar. That's why you probably tune in every week, because our interests line up quite nicely. I'm excited about things like Elden Ring, WWE 2K is coming out, Lego Skywalker Saga, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, Grid Legends. That's stuff that'll set a fire under me. Horizon Forbidden West, God of War. Hidden Motives, the Diamond Rush Collection. Twin Mind, Murder Jealousy Collector's Edition. Criminal Archives, City on Fire. Sorry, they're in different leagues, and I want this platform to grow, and I think it'll do that by having the aforementioned titles more so than it will 100 of these style games. But that's just me. And Richie probably.
I'm exactly the same. Whereas, it's like, it worries me slightly. Like, we've talked a lot about Stadia not getting the AAAs. Have they kind of tapped out like the indie scene, so now they're moving to mobile games just to get an arbitrary number of games on, so they can say we're supporting the platform what he's all these games.
Yeah, and let's remember these aren't even what you would class as like AA. This isn't the new.
No, these are like BC tier games.
This isn't the new SpongeBob game that still hasn't been confirmed from THQ. This isn't the new. I can't think of the word. Destroy All Humans remake. This is a mobile port, unfortunately. So again, we don't want to put too much of a bit of spin on it, but looking ahead to the future, I want the next 90 games to be announced this year to be bigger hits than these ones. But you know what, games for everyone, and fill your boots if that's your kind of
having
thing.
Some good quality mobile titles in there, the ones that aren't your traditional like your Candy Crushers, the sort of stuff that's all about the microtransactions. It's just a way to just put the game secondary to the microtransactions. Yeah. There is some mobile games that are not that. If this is putting these games in front of a new audience, that's fine, but it needs to be backed up with actual other stuff.
That is true.
Yeah.
Especially, I've seen a few people say these games also come to the Nintendo Switch, and then rightly so, people counteract that with saying yes, but they also favour that by having amazing exclusives that come out throughout the course of the year that's only available on Switch, like Pokemon Arceus and Kirby's Forgotten Land and everything in between. So we won't rest too much on that. We'll move on. So 4 games, look forward to them in the coming weeks and months. And play them right now on your Android phone if you want to, because a few of them are available there to check out episode 1 for free. But if you do want to play, if you do want to play these games, Richie, on the move, you don't necessarily need Stadia, because another competitor has entered the ring this past week. That is right, Valve's Steam Deck is out in the wild now. We're seeing reviews all over the place, some good, some bad, some mixed responses. I know a lot of people in our community were very excited. I know our good friend Sonny over at Sunny Cloud Gaming is very excited to get his hands on this. I know Bill and Lloyd over at Nerd Nest have actually had their hands on it as well. So it's an exciting world we live in, Richie, when you can take a super powerful PC build, essentially, and take it in the palm of your hand. And you know what? Stadia can run on it, which we kind of expected, because Steam Deck has an internet browser, and Stadia runs through a browser. But you know what? Our friends over at 9to5 Google, they've tested it. Ben Shun has done the work. It runs. Yes, you can run Stadia on the Steam Deck, and you can do it right out of the box through the browser.
Kind of.
Because of the way the gamepad works, it doesn't quite work.
It's a similar issue at the moment as if you've ever tried to use the DualSense on Stadia. It's not optimized for it, so technically the Stadia will pick up the controller, but the buttons aren't mapped properly. That seems to be a similar issue with the Steam Deck. Specifically, it seems to be around the analog sticks are not getting picked up properly.
Yeah, it makes sense, because it's an input that the layout obviously isn't expecting across a variety of titles.
This is something Stadia can fix, and I think it's in their best interest to fix it, to come out and go, you know what, here you go, we've just patched Stadia, it's now fully compatible with Steam Deck.
Yeah, certainly.
There you go.
Yeah, in the article, actually extracted from The Verge as well, because it's weird that a lot of these journalists went and tested Stadia. It seemed like something that would be not a priority at all.
I think they've looked at this as like, this is a PC on the move, but I think there's one quote specifically mentions how powerful, or despite how powerful the Steam Deck is, it's not powerful enough to play everything, and this is where cloud gaming can be a supplement to it. So I was like, oh well, I can't play, like, I don't know, let's say for example Elden Ring, just to pick a big new title. It's not powerful enough to play Elden Ring, but if Elden Ring was on cloud gaming, then you could play Elden Ring on the Steam Deck. So then you get that portability. So again, it's similar idea as using your phone.
Yeah, which is kind of what made us a bit wary of the Steam Deck when it was announced. Like, undoubtedly amazing tech, and I think if cloud gaming didn't exist, it would have been a great logical step for gaming high AAA titles on the move. But we've been spoilt over the last 2 years with ease of access to Stadia, and I alluded to it at the top of the show. I've been playing FIFA, which is a AAA sports title, on my phone, and my phone has got a beautiful OLED Samsung screen, so it's beautiful.
The Steam Deck, I think it's hitting some of the same market, the portable market that cloud gaming can, in a slightly different way. I still think the base models, the size of the memory is not enough. I just outright think that it doesn't have enough storage, considering you have to download the game. So a big game, I think when it first was launched, I realised it wouldn't actually fit Call of Duty Warzone on it.
Not much
on the base model.
Not much does.
So that's, for me, that was like, well, that pretty much rules out the base model, but it's an absolute bargain in terms of you see what the hardware in it is, the price of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is obviously memory card support. I've seen, I think it was Linus Tech Tips doing quite a rundown on like a terabyte memory SD card installed straight away, and apparently the memory storage switch around is quite easy. But to bring things back to Stadia, we said from day one when Stadia went live and we were able to test it in experiment mode on our phones, that a partnership with a handheld like Nintendo Switch would have been ideal, because it would just give you a form-fitting designed piece of equipment to run these AAA games on. We've seen Nintendo Switch do it with the likes of Control, Resident Evil, and other titles in the past. But they've just not quite got the infrastructure down, which is why we've dreamed of a day when they partner up.
Nintendo Online infrastructure is just bad.
Yeah, well, most people know that. We should point out, though, games running obviously on the Steam Deck via the Chrome browser, there will no doubt be tweaks, and modders will get hold of it, because Valve are very open source when it comes to it. That's why they're big fans of getting Linux up and running, because it'll help the Steam Deck in turn actually help Stadia with porting games and such. So there's a bright future, I think, ahead for all of these companies working together.
There's an easy fix, I think, to the controller compatibility, actually, that could work so well across the board, not just with the Steam Deck. And it's something that Stadia can implement themselves. And that is just system-wide controller mapping. So I can just pick up any controller, attach it, and go into the calibrator, press A. I press A, now it knows what button's A.
Yeah, so it figures out.
And you do that for the full thing, and then it goes, okay, now we know how to use this thing.
Yeah.
Press up on the analog stick, that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that has good accessibility issues as well.
Yeah. One of the games they did test on the Steam Deck was getting Stadia up and running. Destiny 2 up and running, which is an interesting one, because Bungie have came out this week and said if you actually play Destiny 2 through the Steam Deck, it's not allowed. It's something, I think, to do with the cheat, the mods, is it Proton security? There's something that basically Bungie don't let players on that software play Destiny because they can hack it or cheat in the game, so they're banned from playing Destiny 2. And because Valve is open source,
the anti-cheat.
Yeah, it's something to do with anti-cheat and Proton and something like that, which is why you can apparently play Destiny if you get Windows up and running on the Steam Deck, because it's a lot of hoops you're jumping through to play it. But ironically, Stadia doesn't have that problem, because you're playing direct through Stadia. So that is your quick turnaround Destiny players if you have a Steam Deck out there.
I don't like that approach from Bungie. I think the better approach is to find out who's cheating and just give them an outright ban, rather than banning people from using hardware that have to play a game they own. That
goes both ways. If they're just
the majority of people aren't going to cheat, but with the Steam Deck aren't going to cheat. So the handful who are, just ban them. Just straight up, you've been cheating, account delete.
I'm sure it's not as easy as that.
It probably is. If it's just detecting it.
Well,
it'll be in the license agreement. They have the full rights to just delete your account if you caught breaching the license agreement.
Well, get your Adam Wolf detective hat on and go hunt them down. But as of today, then Steam Deck and Stadia are not fully compatible. But I'm sure once people have had their hands on it for a few weeks, there'll be tweaks. There'll be Stadia enhanced. Mr. Clay will be out there, I'm sure, making some kind of version that runs on the Steam Deck once he gets around to it. But it's an interesting time we live in. I'm quite happy still with my phone and quiche at the moment. I also don't have the £500 spare to order a Steam Deck, and it's probably also not arrived for many, many months because of the back catalogue of chips and shortages.
I said it was good value for what it was. I didn't say it was cheap.
That is true. If you're one of the lucky people out there to have a Steam Deck, do let us know in the comments below if you've had it up and running, and your take on it. But it's interesting to see that Steam Deck, in a world where we're pretty much geared for cloud gaming, they're doubling down on physical hardware, and I like to see it.
It makes sense if in like parts of the world that still have like strong data caps and things like or poor internet service, where the Steam Deck will absolutely just, if you live in a part of a country that doesn't have a good internet service as available, Steam Deck's going to be great for you.
But here's my question. Yeah. How do you download the game?
I said it doesn't have good internet service. I didn't say it had none.
Oh, I mean, it'd still take, like, if Control...
Oh, yeah, it'd take a long time, but it's going to take a long time regardless, and it does fix that need, so...
That's true, and you're probably familiar with it. Moving on, though, folks, another game stealth dropped on Stadia this week. So aside from our 4 titles we previously discussed, we had another one drop, and that is Ryan's Rescue Squad. That's right, Ryan, that kid with a TV show, a YouTube channel or something like that. Parents, do let us know. He's got a platform game that's just dropped. It was stealth dropped this morning, actually. We just caught it, Richie, in time for the show. It's another game. We obviously, as a pro game, had Race with Ryan. This one reminds me of a Monster Boy if you put a even more Saturday morning cartoon skin over it. I don't know the characters. There's a great review from our friend PSX Fletch over there. He did an early review of this game. It is from Outright Games, again supporting... We need to do a head count on Outright Games, Richie. Have they got more games than Stadia than Ubisoft now? They must be getting close. Yeah, they must be getting close. Of course, not one for you and me, I don't think. It's definitely for the family audience out there. I know a few people have been tweeting already saying, can't wait for my kids to get their hands on this. I think it's $34.99, a launch price. Again, fun puzzle platformer. We've said many times on the show that this could be somebody's Crash Bandicoot. This could be somebody's Spyro the Dragon. Obviously not ours. We're well past that part in our lives now. But someone will grow up and look back fondly in 20 years going, I used to love that game. And Ryan himself will be an adult and he'll be rich beyond us all. I grew up with
Ryan.
Yeah, and he'll be rich beyond us all. But yes, drop this week, Ryan's Rescue Squad, available now to buy on the Stadia platform. So there you go, ladies and gents. You get an extra game this week from Outright Games. There he is, give us a thumbs up, Richie, just like Ryan. Actually, wait till this trailer's finished and then everyone can see the thumbs up. There we go. Moving on to less child-friendly games, Resident Evil and Capcom are doubling down on their previous entries. Resident Evil 7, of course, is available on Stadia, as is Resident Evil Village. You and me are both hoping we'll see more. Resident Evil 2 Remake and 3 Remake are going to be getting a PS5 and Xbox Series XS boost later this year. They're going to be given the upgrade treatment, including ray tracing, higher frame rates, 3D audio, DualSense for PS5, and a bunch more additional features. And this begs the question, Richie, and why I pass it over to you. With us getting RE7 and RE8 last year, and them being absolutely smash hits on Stadia, they had Premier Edition bundles. It was arguably the biggest game to launch on the platform last year, some would say. With Capcom delving back in and giving a next-gen lick of paint, is this an opportunity for Stadia to go back to Capcom and say, how about another couple mil to bring 2 and 3 over, and maybe 4? Because the rumour is 4 is going to be announced some point in the next few weeks or months. What are we doing with RE and Stadia? Is it a dead relationship, or is it going to keep going?
Unfortunately,
no.
I think unfortunately it is a dead relationship. I think they've paid for the two games. They got the 2 games, and I'd like to be optimistic, but then we also have the whole Stadia getting deprioritized and not wanting to fork out massive bags of cash to bring AAA titles. And I think that's what brought Resident Evil 7 and 8 was a massive bag of cash.
But 10 million was the rumor. $10 million.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're willing to do that again for 2 and 3. Did they make 10 million off them games? I don't know.
Well, I don't think we'll ever know realistically.
Yeah,
but it would really, really, I think, raise a lot of people's hopes if we got some kind of RE reverse announcement, because we are still due that. Remember, that game came out last bloody June, and we still haven't got what was supposed to be included on day one. I paid money for RE Village, and I'm yet to get the product that I was promised several months ago. So that's on Capcom, of course, not on Stadia. However, I would love just a triple punch this year of saying, we bring an RE2 and 3 remake. Maybe give us 2 as a pro game, and then 3 you can buy the following month. And then in line with some kind of RE4 remake announcement. And then off the back of that, we get lovely updates for Village and Biohazard. Could you imagine? Give me some Jill Valentine in the RE engine, because now the engine runs on Stadia. You got to imagine it's like the most not minimal work, but for the developers, minimal work. For you and me, it would take us a lifetime of going to university, studying, getting a degree, actually learning our trade, then applying it to porting the game.
Yeah.
But for the geniuses over at Capcom and the money bags over at Google, come on, give me it. I'd love to play these games on Stadia.
I agree. I think it would be great to see them come and see that relationship blossom. I just kind of think that they seem to be focusing on, you know what, let's give Resident Evil 2 and 3 a lick of paint, and then bring them forward to the next current generations of consoles. That seems to be a higher priority.
Indeed.
I don't know. I'd love to see it. I just don't. It's that one article, that Business Insider article, kind of dampens anything like this, where it's like, well, they don't Stadia and from big bags of cash at AAA titles, so.
Because that's the thing, and that's what I think bugs me as a gamer the most, and as a fan of Stadia the most, is yes, it costs money, but we mentioned to it when we went through the 4 games. Is someone going to come to the platform with the prospect of, I get to play RE2, one of the best games of all time, one of the most beloved games of history in gaming, on my phone, on my tablet, on my old laptop, on my TV, or Adam Wolf's Super Investigated Chronicle Time Wiz Episode 1? Yeah. Which one's going to bring more people to your platform? And as a marketing beat, I know it costs money, but investment's got to sit somewhere. And like you said, 20% from that Business Insider article. This is why, hopefully, I think the Dev Summit and then some kind of Connect is going to kickstart this year. And then we're really going to see the true colours of how 2020 in the future is going to pan out.
I've got a feeling what we're seeing is Stadia doubling down on the casual gamer market and the family-friendly market. You look at the relationship with Outright Games, constantly bringing games over. That's great. If you're a parent, I could see that being great. He's a platform that's got loads of these games that my kids want to play. Mm-hmm. I don't have to spend a lot of money to buy an expensive box. Yep. So especially if you're talking like really young kids, you don't want to spend £500 on the PlayStation for them.
No,
I can just buy I've got I can just stick a Chromecast on my TV, buy a controller for £50, and then they're good to go. Get playing all these games, and then there's a few casual games in there for me. I think that's what Stadia is probably going to become, unfortunately.
Only time will tell. Another thing only time will tell, Richie, is the next story of the week, and that is FIFA 23 has been in the news because it is rumoured to be having crossplay between PC, PlayStation and Xbox. I'm guessing Stadia would fit into that somewhere. The move to crossplay has been a long time coming for EA's football brand, and it comes after numerous other big franchises already taken the plunge to go crossplay. Obviously, the big rumour this time around is that FIFA and EA are falling out with licensing agreements, but not that should really have any impact on crossplay. But I think in terms of somebody who, as I've mentioned, has played a lot of Stadia and a lot of FIFA combined using the Razer Kishi on my phone, I think it's the perfect portable game to sell to a casual person who only buys a PS5 or an Xbox for FIFA. Switch can't do it. Switch puts out that Legacy Edition every damn year, and all it is a shitty reskin of like the 2020 game. They did it on the PlayStation Vita, they did it on the Switch, and the reality is it can't power the hypermotion, the next-gen graphics, all the stuff, all the buzzwords that they put in. And now we're in this weird place where, would it just be typical Stadia, Richie, that the year they introduce crossplay is the year EA do not bring FIFA 23 to the platform?
I think that's what's about to happen. I really do, unfortunately. It's a shame. I think one of the problems with FIFA, I mean, I'm a single player guy on FIFA anyway. I'm a career mode purist. Mm-hmm. I don't play online, don't play seasons, I don't play Ultimate Team.
FUT.
But I realise that a lot of people do. That's why these modes still exist. As much as I don't like these modes, they exist for a reason. It's because people are playing them. Mm-hmm. Stadia doesn't have the multiplayer base to sustain it.
Yeah.
Crossplay resolves that issue entirely.
Yeah, it really does.
And if you are the person, as we've said many times, who only gets the console to play FIFA, you buy FIFA every year, and that's all you do with gaming.
Yeah.
Stadia could be the perfect thing for you, but it needs crossplay.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's coming. I don't think it's coming to Stadia. We're seeing articles talking about the platforms it's coming to, and Stadia isn't listed. The 5-day relationship with EA is up.
Yeah,
we've had nothing since. We've had nothing since.
No new games since.
I want to see it, but again, I'm at the point where I'm looking at it and going, until we hear it, I'm assuming it's not coming.
Yeah, and then again, that's the reality, isn't it? Is when FIFA 23 inevitably does come out, if it ain't on Stadia, guess where my money's gone? Back on my PS5. I won't have the portability that I've had. I might try and get remote play, I guess, and see how that fares right now. But it won't allow me to do it out the house on my commute on my lunch break.
Remote play, they really need to open up to mobile data.
Is it still not a thing?
Nope. I tried on my lunch break the other day.
I'm sure it's not far off.
I use remote play all the time to access either my PS4 or PS5, because my PS4's on my desk, PS5's downstairs. Having remote play means I can access both from wherever I happen to want to be playing. Mm-hmm. So I can play Horizon and Forbidden West, the PS5 version, through my PS4 here. It's not as good graphically. It is scaled down a bit, but it's fine. But yeah, they need mobile data active.
Yeah. But I guess
maybe Spartacus.
Crossplay would definitely solve FIFA's problems when it comes to Stadia. But I guess Google have to get their Kylian Mbappe's out and spend that money to get the game on the platform, because that runs the risk of no Madden coming. That runs the risk of no...
You can get Kylian Mbappe for free.
No Jedi...
You can just approach him.
Just pay his wages.
I could approach Kylian Mbappe today and go, hey, Kylian, do you want to play for me? He's a tenner a week.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
No Jedi Fallen Order 2 and a bunch of other amazing games. Again, it's Take-Two would have been such a great title to get, but we're still in this weird thing where we don't really know. So all we can do is move on. But I tell you what probably will be coming, and that is another outright game, Richie. Another one. Hotel Transylvania, based on the movies, the animated movies that are coming out. There's a new title that is coming March 11th from Outright Games. Features, of course, Dracula with kids. I haven't seen the movies. I'm sure they look half decent at least. I think it's Sony Pictures Sony Animated Pictures. It's like the third entry in the movie. Zarina over on Twitter asked them, it looks fun. Will it be coming to Stadia by any chance? And Outright, in their classic response, said, it is our intention, but we can't confirm it yet. We hope to have exciting news very soon. Thanks for your interest.
Let's finish the game first, basically.
Yeah, which for me is basically like, it's announced for all these platforms. For some reason, Google don't allow us to tell people about it. We'll stealth drop it on the day of launch or the day before or something random like that. Or you know what? They'll put out 2 posts this week about 4 games that are coming and then stealth drop one on the Friday. I don't get it, but here we are. No trailer for Hotel Transylvania, folks at home, because Bandai Namco hate us and copyright the hell out of it. So you'll just have to imagine cartoon Dracula, imagine jumping around on platforms. That's all you have to imagine. That kind of stick. Blade.
Do you read that? I've just looked up Outright Games. Their first game they released was Ben 10 in 2017. They've released almost 30 games in like 5 years.
Busy bees over there.
That's a lot of games in that time.
Good. It must be that sweet spot.
Well, there's different developers on them all, but
publishing deals.
Yeah, I think because they are smaller titles.
I think I did see this week actually. Outright and a bunch of other publishers have just signed a deal with another cloud platform to make their games accessible via cloud without the need. It's almost like white labeling. It wasn't. Was it through Shadow or was it through? It was some company who's doing basically Stadia's white labeling, but it's not through Stadia. Yeah. But it was like 5 publishers have all teamed up. I think John Scar, someone tweeted out about it. It was interesting to see. And again, it's kind of what I'd imagine Stadia are going to all these developers and saying, look, put your game just out there in the wild. You don't need PlayStation. You don't need Xbox. You don't need Switch. You don't even need us, because you don't have to put our branding on anything. Just give them a web link and take 100% of the proceeds almost. Outright could probably do that with these 30 games and just aim it at kids. We used to play games at school, remember, just on the web browser. There might have been Flash games, but times have moved on since then. And that's just where we are.
I wonder how many like kids who made Flash games back in the day went on to like make things like Elden Ring.
What was it? Stick fight? There was a stick fighting game we used to play.
There's Stick Death.
Stick Death.
Do you remember Slime Games?
Slime Games, yeah, Slime Games. It's still alive now, I'd imagine. to play. Bring that to Stadia. Worm game and slime game. Moving on, Legend of Heroes. Trails from Zero, Richie, not Trials from Way Forward. Did get announced. It's coming to PlayStation, Switch, PC in September 27th to be precise. The reason I bring it up, of course, is because the Trails games are on Stadia. We've got a few of them at least. I don't know in what order. You're probably best to answer this one.
Right. So we have on Stadia at the moment we have Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4. And when I was going through my JRPG binge last year, I did consider them. But the issue with these games is that they are continuations of the same story. And the Legend of Heroes is kind of the overarching series, and then the subtitle, like Trails of Cold Steel, is kind of a story arc within that series. So you kind of really want to play from the start of a story arc. Mm-hmm. Where, unfortunately, on Stadia, we've only got 3 and 4, so you're starting halfway through.
Right, I didn't realise that. So
which is one of the reasons why I never went. I decided to give a pass on them.
Yeah. So this one's Zero. Is this a prequel? Do we know?
So, Trails from Zero is the first part of the Crossbell arc. So this is the first game in another story arc.
Oh, you gotta love JRPGs.
I'm reading this off a wiki because I'm not.
Yeah,
it's a series that's intrigued me, but there's so many games in it. It's like, where do you start? Mm-hmm. Like,
where do you start? Richie? The thing is, I know I'd enjoy these games to some degree, but again, it's where to start.
There's weird times lapses between them as well. So like, Trails of Cold Steel 3 came out in 2017 in Japan and 2019 in the English version. Not too bad. Take a guess what the time difference for Trails from Zero is.
So this game's already out now.
It's already out in Japan.
Probably 3 years ago. Before Stadia existed.
It's definitely before Stadia existed. It came out in 2010.
Wow, this game is from 2010.
12 years.
Shit.
12 years.
So it's just coming to the West in 2022.
Yes.
Damn. You've had plenty of time to port it to Stadia then. You could have done it when Project Stream was still in a twinkle in Phil Harrison's eye.
That's not... I think that's completely irrelevant, but it's like there's a handful of these games that are like 9, 10, 11, 12 years between like the Japanese and the English releases.
Well, you know what?
It seems like they're getting better, though, with the newer games. It feels like they're going back and porting the older stuff.
Well, I mean, to be fair, as a total novice to that, the art style, and obviously it's probably a remake, tweak or something, the art style wouldn't give it away that it was that old of a game.
I don't think it is. I think it's just the game. I think it's just a retro. It looks like a retro style game, but it's not. It's just retro.
So, Legend of Heroes Trails, we'll get that right from Zero.
Yeah.
Not coming, but it could because of the nature of the relationship. We just don't know this stuff. If you've not gathered anything from this episode so far, it's a lot of they might not, they could, they should.
It'd be nice to see it. It'd be nice to see it come with it being the start of a story arc.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to play all the story arcs necessarily in the order they're released. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to play through episode like number 3 before number 1.
Certainly. I'll tell you one thing we won't be playing anytime soon, Richie. And that is the Settlers from Ubisoft. Announced as a Ubisoft original, which even though it's not an original because it's a remake or a reboot, I guess, of like a 30-year-old franchise, it'll no longer be coming on 17th of March. Ubisoft only announced it a mere few weeks back. They had a beta. They decided from the beta that actually, you know what? We're going to give it a bit more time.
It's not good enough.
Not good enough. It appears the January closed beta didn't go quite as planned, and in a statement on Twitter, Ubisoft explained that it went through player feedback from the closed beta, and it became clear to our team that the quality wasn't yet in line with the team's vision. As such, the publishers made the decision to indefinitely postpone the game once more, only saying it will now launch at a later date. So probably a good bit more work to do.
I sniff a bit of internal politics in this. I've got a feeling the developers must have knew that it wasn't good enough. Yeah, you can almost feel like the developers saying it's not good enough, and Ubisoft going,
"Give us a date. Give us a date.
We need a date. We've already postponed it once," and it's like, "Okay, let's put it in beta, and we'll go off the playtest." And like the playtesters come out, it's not good enough, and the developers are going, "We told you."
Yep. Yeah, we told you. Which I'm sure happens. I'm sure that happened with CD Projekt Red as well with their shareholders. Yeah. Cyberpunk is not ready. And they went, oh, but the financial year, Christmas, And look what it did to them. So, again, it's a game that we said when it was first announced that it would be great on the platform as a mouse and keyboard Age of Empires-esque Conquerors game, Civ game. But
and the only thing I can see stopping it with being a Ubisoft game is some sort of policy from Stadia about mouse and keyboard only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which we've mentioned before. They should just drop it.
Should drop it indeed, but Ubisoft should not drop the Settlers, or they won't drop it anytime soon because it's been delayed.
Drop it when it's ready. When it's ready.
I'm happy to. I mean, the game looks beautiful. It looks great. It's just
I like how candid they're being about this. Actually, I think that's something we should bring up. It's like they basically turned around and went, we're putting the hand of some gamers. The gamers said it wasn't good enough, so we're taking it back, and we're not releasing this. It's like good. That's good. That's a good thing to do.
Yeah, and the end of the statement saying Ubisoft will use this additional time to further improve the game and push quality as our main priority for all players, and says it will provide an update on its progress in due time. So hopefully that includes an announcement for a certain cloud platform that we may or may not cover on this very podcast. Final stories for the week, Richie. Dead by Daylight. Of course, the super scary horror game that will not stop with its content. They've probably put out more content than outright games have put out games as far as DLC goes. We brought to you the other character from The Ring the other week. I scared a few people. Did you hear about that? In our Discord. Now, sorry if I scared anyone like seriously scared. I just thought it would be funny. We were talking about The Ring. We were talking about the creepy girl who comes up the screen. I may have cranked up the volume a little bit and got a clip of her right up against the screen for anyone who was watching.
I had to go back and watch the episode and trying to figure out what they were talking about because
you don't know what I edit into the show.
Yeah, because I don't watch every single episode of the Stadia podcast because I'm in it.
Yeah, for all you know, I could edit a big penis on your head every single week and only the viewers would know.
I just assume he does.
Remember that time we played Trials Rising, and the bet for losing bet for losing the race was drawing a penis on your arm with a marker pen.
That was a Stadia Super Saturday. That
it was, yeah. Shout out to Stadia Super Saturdays from way back when. It was one of our first live streams, and we got drunk. We played many games. We had a great time, and we hedged our bets. And one of the forfeits was you got to draw something.
Destroyed the stream because I accidentally unplugged the cable.
You did destroy the stream. Go check that out. It's the first look is actually it's one of the first videos we cut out of that and put it on the channel. So if you want to be here scared by characters in the ring and poorly drawn penises on people's arms, keep it locked to Helix Cloud Games for all of that type of stuff. But I digress. Dead by Daylight is getting a board game. Is on the way. It's going to be due in time for Halloween. Developer Behaviour Interactive have partnered with Level 99 Games, acclaimed publisher of video game-inspired board and card games, to create the ultimate board game based on the hit multiplayer horror title. Kickstarter campaign is available now, so if you're interested in some Dead by Daylight, I know our friend Dom will be checking that out. Much like the video games, the board game is going to see 2 to 4 players as survivors working together to fix generators and thwart a killer, played by another player. Staples of the game include perks such as items, props, killers and survivors themselves. There's going to be 2 versions, standards and the collector's edition. The killers and survivors are drawn from the original cast, so they're going to mirror the lineup of the games. And any fans of the original video game will know that we've worked hard to capture the tensions between the survivors and the killers at every turn. In summary, I think actually the rules of Dead by Daylight in general, Richie, I think translate to a board game quite well.
Yeah, I'm thinking this. I'm not a big board game guy, but when I have played board games, I've always had a blast. Like, this sounds like it could be a really fun game. Yeah,
you can almost see it already. You have, I guess, your points for your fixing the generator, your tools and stuff. Like, you have your perks in the game. Roll the
dice, and that's your movement.
Yeah, the killer has a similar dice, or maybe like a dice with different outcomes on it, so you can attack or you can
like when you get to the generator, you roll your dice. If you get, I don't know, you have to roll 2 dice. You have to get over a 6, otherwise it makes a noise.
Yeah, and then he finds and then that'll give him maybe an extra move this round, and I think it could work really, really well, and I'm intrigued to see where this goes.
But what are your thoughts on the Dead by Daylight dating sim? Because haven't covered that. I saw a link to it at the bottom of the Eurogame.
A Dead by Daylight dating sim. I mean, who do you date exactly?
I have no clue.
This sounds like an April. It's not quite April yet, but this sounds like an April Fool's joke.
Dead by Daylight dating sim may be on its way. I share on Twitter by D leaks. developed behaviour appears to have trademarked the title Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim.
You know what, Richie? There's people out there in the world called fairies who like doing naughty things with people in fairy outfits. So you know what? If they're into Dead by Daylight horror and dating sims, hell, there's a KFC Colonel Sanders dating sim, I believe.
Yeah.
If you want to get finger licking good with the Colonel, then there's a game for you out there as well. And speaking of games and making them, that brings us to our final story of the week. Nice little Stadia note to end on. If you live in the UK and you are interested in being a software engineer or a porting engineer or a graphics engineer, there are jobs for you at Stadia and Google specifically down in London town. Notified this week, there are jobs up on the listing. Both flexible working in and around London. You only need a bachelor's degree in software engineering and a master's degree in computer science or equivalent experience in the technical field covering mathematics, physics and other relevant practices. Any chance you're applying for any of these jobs, Richie?
I'm not qualified for any of them.
Yeah, me either, unfortunately. However, we alluded to it with the developers conference coming up, GDC coming up. These jobs would not be here if they weren't continually making and working. So the jokes of Stadia is a dying platform, it isn't, because they're recruiting people to make stuff. It's great to see that there's a porting job coming up though in London. That means they're looking at porting more games across. There's actually 2 roles in London for a Stadia porting engineer. Should we have a look? What's it say about the job? Google software engineers develop the next generation technology, yada yada yada. The Stadia porting team seeks to drastically reduce or even eliminate the work required for partners to bring their existing AAA games to Stadia and Google Stream. That's an interesting little bit there.
Well, one of the porting engineer job was listed 12 hours ago at the time of recording, so that's like 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday. This was when this job came up, so it's a good catch by you, this one actually. But yeah, I mean, I've got a feeling that a lot of the stuff like we're going to hear about at the Google for Games Dev Summit, this is the sort of stuff like I'm thinking specifically the Windows side, porting Windows games seamlessly over a Stadia, or Google Stream. Well, but this is listed as Stadia, so... Yeah,
and this is the first job listing I've noticed that actually says for Stadia and Google Stream. So it's actually got them like promoted within the job listing as 2 separate entities.
The behind-the-scenes stuff is the same text, so...
But it's interesting that they're saying as part of the job is you'll be doing it for pipelines for Stadia and Google Stream, as though they're separate entities when they're just the same tech, right? They're just different branding, so... Yeah. Interesting. And it says part of your responsibilities will be design and build tools and technology that help make it easy to bring existing AAA games to Stadia. Note it only says AAA. Diagnose and solve problems with porting specific games and contribute to team planning as we define content pipelines for Stadia and Google Stream. So it still seems like there's a lot of stuff up in the air and they're looking to recruit people to come on board and actually plot out what the future of these 2 divisions look like.
I think probably maybe plan A and B have failed for Stadia. Now they're trying to figure out what plan C is.
C, B.
How do we... Yeah. We'll keep the platform alive. And then we'll figure out how we actually grow it.
Interesting.
Because the tech's good. No one's... That's one of the things that most people do say. Like, there's no problems with the tech.
Yeah.
It's mainly the game library. That's the problem.
Interesting stuff.
And the player base, and then how do you... That's a vicious cycle. Not enough players, therefore you can't attract get the high quality games. Not enough games, you can't attract the players.
Catch-22. But it's interesting that the jobs are there, and what also happens, funnily enough, if you tag Stadia as a job listing, you'll get many jobs come towards you for working at stadiums, Richie, around the UK. Catering jobs in stadiums, events organizer days at sports stadiums, or Stadia, of course, which is where the tagline comes from. So yes, software engineer, porting, and a graphics engineer are required. So if you live in London town or you're willing to relocate or even do some flexible working from home, hit up the jobs at Google board by just Googling jobs at Stadia, I guess. That's how it works. That's how I do it. And let us know if you apply and you're successful. All the best in your interview. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for another amazing episode of the Sounds of Stadia podcast, brought to you by myself, Chris, and my lovely co-host, the techie, manny, pixels, man, person himself. I had Tom on the mind because that's where we were going. So for the first time in many, many weeks, I almost went to call you the techie teacher himself. But of course, he's not here because he's about to go away and enjoy his last night of freedom alongside me and you, Richie. Been a great show. Thanks for joining me. I don't ever really thank you for joining me every week. Thanks for joining me.
No, you demand my presence.
I do, yeah. I text you saying, get your ass on Discord right now. We're recording a show. But for those out there who do support us, our lovely members, from as little as 99p, you can click join below on the video if you're watching along on YouTube and support us. Bring you that extra bit of content. You get a bit of extra content. 6 days early, in fact. Our episode of SideQuest this week, we're going not only off the beaten path, Richie, we're going a little bit deeper because one of Stadia's cloud competitors may have launched officially in a certain country. So what are we talking about on SideQuest this week?
So this week in SideQuest, we're talking about Luna.
How dare we? And why are we doing it? What specifically are we talking about?
Well, Luna is officially out of beta and is now available to everyone in the mainland USA. So we thought it's a good time to check back in with Luna because we haven't in a while. We haven't,
right? And of course they are literally probably the most direct competitor to Stadia we possibly have in terms of both brand new.
In terms of like for like.
Yeah. Different approaches, but yes, very much trying to fill the new cloud gaming genre. So I'm going to go away, talk about that, talk about the games, the pricing, the channel structure. You know what it's about. Members get it early. If not, free feeds goes live on Friday. You can listen to it on podcast services. Richie, how did that Spotify video thing go?
I forgot to check. I was busy at work, so I didn't have a look.
There you go. Let us know in the comments how it actually went over on Spotify. You can rate us or on your podcast preference of choice. This show is available every single Monday. SideQuest is available every single Friday, unless you're a member with those special stickers and badges next to your name. My name's been Chris.
I've been Richie.
We've been Hades Cloud Games. And remember, folks, play whatever makes you the happiest. Have a great week, and hopefully we're not too hungover. Goodbye.
Bye.
I sound drunk already. Bye.